So I've been reading and I've been thinking a whole lot about prayer, and thanks to Gene Saunders, you gave me this book, and I finally decided to sit down and reading. It made me think a lot about how I'm praying, and you know what? It's a nice little book. I'm glad you gave it to me. And anybody else that's watching this video, I want you to think about how you pray. In First Chronicles, you'll see a whole bunch of lineage in the beginning of the book, and you'll see who begat who, and you'll just see whose daddy was who, and who, all that good stuff, and so you get through that, and then in the middle of it talks about this guy named Jabez, and he decides, and it just stops, and in the middle of all that, it breaks away for a second and talks about prayer and the prayer of this guy. And it's kind of, something worth taking note when it stops right in the middle of all the begats and gets to here. And I've not finished the book yet, but I'll have to say that I've realized that I am where God wants me to be, in that, sometimes when I feel overwhelmed, I know that I'm where God wants me to be, because if I'm comfortable, then I'm not pushing the envelope, and I'm not out there doing the stuff that God wants. I'm very, very glad that I am where God wants me to be, because it says in there that we need to pray in such a way, and in this prayer, it talks about praying, one, for a blessing, to be blessed, and then the other thing that struck me was that that the prayer is to expand His borders. And when I'm expanding my borders and I'm getting into something else, some ministry, and you know what, it takes you beyond where you were before. It takes you beyond what you thought you could do before. And I'm starting to get beyond things that I thought were capable and possible. And now that I'm getting to that point, when you get to that point, you sometimes feel overwhelmed. And I'll be honest, in my first year of youth ministry, there's a couple times I felt a little bit overwhelmed. But that's knowing that you're working and you're in a place where you need to be at, where God's using you. And you know what? When you begin to feel overwhelmed, that's what makes you depend on God. And so when you get out of your comfort zone, that means you have to rely on God to do the rest. And that's what God wants, because that's how He works, is through us. So He needs us to be in situations that maybe go a little bit beyond the abilities that we've done before. And so I want to continue to be challenged, and I want God to continue challenging me. I want to continue challenging everybody else. This prayer is it's pretty intense. Just look it over. It's in the 4th chapter, and I believe in verse 9 you'll see the little small piece of where it talks about Jabez. And just read that prayer and just meditate upon it for a little bit. It's kind of interesting, and makes you take a whole new look at how you're praying. So, anyways, Gene, I just want to thank you if you ever get to see this, and everybody that's watching. Just I challenge you: expand your borders. You'll have to rely on God, and that's a good thing.